Hey, small business people and lovers of good stories in general. I am really excited today. It's episode 14, but more importantly, it is the first episode of the Soul of America tour, where my puppy Muddy Waggers and I went all around the country interviewing different people and listening to their stories. And we got some really, really interesting perspectives and stuff and a lot of different lessons. We're going to be coming out with a book about this later on this year, and I'll give you more information about that as it becomes available. I shot some great photographs of the people I interviewed as well. But today, we have Celeste Austin of Savvyroot. And Celeste was working in the medical profession, in the dental profession, and then she decided that she didn't want to do that anymore, and she started making leather handbags and started kicking ass at it. And this is a story about how she did that transformation and how she ended up with a really successful company in Savvyroot. The Soul of America tour is brought to you by a few sponsors. We have some new sponsors. We have Tecovas Boots. Tecovas Boots are based here in Austin, Texas. And if you're tired of paying $700 for handcrafted boots, the new industry standard is Tecovas. You can put on real handmade, top quality boots for a fraction of the retail prices. That's Tecovas, Tecovas boots. I wore Tecovas boots every single day of the Soul of America tour, and they're very comfortable and they look very good. Got lots of compliments on the road. And the Soul of America tour is also brought to you by Impact Crates. Impact Crates are dog safety crates, so Muddy Waggers traveled in an Impact Crate every single day. They're made in the USA. They're strong, they're safe and secure. They're collapsible, and you can get them in many different colors. They work really, really well. They're very safe, and you can use code MUDDY20 to get 20% off your Impact Crate. That's MUDDY20, MUDDY20 to get 20% off. And lastly, but not least, we're also sponsored by Badger Mapping, which is the app that I use to map all of the different routes that I had to take during the Soul of America tour. And it's the number one app for field salespeople in the Apple App Store. And people say it's, quote, the secret weapon for their top sales teams, unquote. I'm quoting some of the reviews here. It makes it very easy if you have sales reps. It makes it very easy for your sales reps to manage their territory, to know where to go, what time, and how to get there. I am friends with the CEO, Steve, and he's a very good friend of mine. If you tell them that you came because of the Small Business War Stories podcast, they will give you 2 months free to any of our listeners. So take advantage of that. If you have a sales team that is out in the field, definitely worth a try. And also, of course, every episode is brought to you by Proven.com, the best small business hiring tool in the land. You can post your job to one place, and we distribute it to over 100 job boards. We have thousands of customers nationwide, and I love it. And actually, I use it too when I hire for Proven. So we actually use our own tools. So without further ado, I do want to get to the actual episode. And again, Celeste was a fantastic guest. And we talked about New Orleans, where she's originally from. And this is a theme that you're going to see throughout the Soul of America tour. A lot of folks that I met are from places that they're moving back to. And I think this is going to be a big way in which people are going to be able to lead the revitalization of a lot of towns across the country that maybe saw declines in their industries. But I'm going to talk more about that in the book, and I don't want to get in the way of Celeste telling her story because she is awesome. Again, I'm excited to introduce to you Celeste Austin of Savvyroot, episode 14 of Small Business War Stories, the first episode of the Soul of America tour. Small Business War Stories. Small businesses are the soul of America. And this is where they tell their stories. I am your host, Pablo Fuentes. And we are live here in New Orleans, Louisiana. And today I have the pleasure of sitting here with Celeste Austin of Savvyroot. Welcome to the show, Celeste.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's awesome to be here in your amazingly designed place that is just like this epic, everything here is very, very thoughtful. It looks like a combination of like I don't know, some kind of restoration hardware catalog with like some amazing, like locally curated items.
It is. I love my city.
That's awesome.
Sure. Yeah.
Are you from New Orleans originally?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. So born and raised. Did you ever leave for a period of time?
I did, but I didn't go too far. I went to Baton Rouge.
Oh, okay. So, you went to LSU?
No, went to Southeastern, but then lived in Baton Rouge the last 8 years and just moved back. So.
So you're brand new back in the city.
Freshly back and ready to,
You're excited?
On. Oh, yeah.
Awesome. What prompted the move?
Just ready to be back home with family, and it's just nothing like where you're from.
I hear you.
To your roots, Savvyroot.
I hear you. There you go. We'll plug it in. So tell me more about Savvyroot. What do you do, and how did the business start?
So I am a leather handbag designer. I started due to my love of design. I used to love changing the way a living room would look. So I would sew, throw pillow covers and change them out, based on what I was feeling at the time or whatever, and a cheaper, more efficient way to get the job done,
Love it.
So taught myself how to sew.
Yeah, you have a beautiful sewing machine over there.
Thank you. Yeah, I had to have that leather sewing machine since then. So that's kind of where
that's like an older model, right?
It is. It's
from what
antique.
year?
Oh, I can't even.
And it works fully like
amazing. I had somebody resurface it. It was just amazing.
It's incredible. So I have like a 1949 bandsaw. I make guitars for fun.
Oh yeah.
So I have a 1949 bandsaw I restored. Then I have a 1949 and a 1960 typewriter. And then, like, it's amazing, the kind of stuff that, stuff used to be made to be fixed and, that worked for a long time.
Absolutely. That's exactly what that is.
Yeah.
Yep, and I love it. It works like a champ.
That is amazing.
Awesome. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. So what were you doing before you started Savvyroot?
So I was in the dental field.
Okay.
Yeah. So went to college for biology and all that. I just never felt like it really was... it didn't give me life. It didn't make me feel what I knew I should be feeling, every day going through life. And so I did the dental thing for 8 years, and then I started doing the handbag stuff as a side hustle. And then from there, it got so busy that I had to leave the dental field.
How long was it between the time that you started doing handbags to the time that you said, I'm going full time?
Honestly, it probably only took about a year.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, not even. I mean, I stayed in it longer than I probably should have.
Okay.
But I think that was the right move financially, just because I wanted to make sure, I wasn't going to just jump out and, and it gave me time to save up and, make some extra money on the side. And
that's
whatever.
amazing.
So, yeah.
That's amazing.
About a year. And I wound up, the reason why I wound up leaving dental was I got into 16 boutiques. So once I got into 16, I was like, all right, I can't keep up anymore.
So was that the time when you knew that it was time to make the leap?
Yep, that was it. I was hand making all day, all night. Once I quit the job, once I quit my full-time job.
Yeah.
So I knew that if I was hand making all day, all night with no full-time job, how was I making it work when I had a full-time job?
Right.
So
that's wild.
It was just working until 5 a.m. I got off at 3 and I would work until 5 a.m, and then I had to go to work at 7. So it was like, it was rough. It was rough. I'm so glad to be done with it.
Yeah, no sleep till Brooklyn.
Yeah, exactly. Totally.
Wow, that's amazing. That's real passion. So what? Wow, I mean, I have so many questions. So who were your first customers? So when you were in the dental business, you started making these. How did you find your first few people who said like, wow, I want a Savvyroot bag?
Well, so actually I had a customer who had her own boutique, a lady in Baton Rouge who had been around for years, like 30 plus years in business. And that's outstanding for a boutique.
Yeah.
So I wound up getting with her, and she just was constantly like, just go for it, do it, just reach out to people. If all else, what can they say? No,
Yeah.
And she kind of gave me the backhand about everything. Like, she was like, this is what I did to start, and here's what we want as buyers, here's what we're going to look for. And so I kind of knew from there where to go. So I started with her. And then actually I did a pop-up shop. I don't know if you're familiar with those.
You know what? I am familiar with the term, but maybe explain just really quickly.
So a pop-up shop is just where, you basically just take your little handful of things and bring it to a little boutique or something, and you just set up shop right there.
A shop within a shop.
Mm-hmm. Or you can do it on the streets or at festivals and things like that, which is also what I do. But they're really fun to be able to engage with customers and get your stuff out there, and they get to meet the designer and the person who owns the whatever they're selling or
That's
creates.
awesome. So people, do you get the sense that people get this personal connection with you, and that helps them
absolutely.
with the purchase?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, actually, I was in Saginaw, Michigan, and I interviewed a really interesting guy, Matt Ike, who makes mule resonator guitars or handmade steel resonators. Mm-hmm. And I put in an order for one.
Naturally.
For their
it does help.
It's a 10-month wait list. So
wow.
I gotta save up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I wound up doing that. I mean, I did one pop-up, and it took that one, and I met probably 30 other women doing the same thing I'm doing, and trying to build their brands as well. And
do you meet anybody that was doing something similar to you, or were they doing stuff that was different?
Everybody. There were a few that were doing what I do, but I wound up getting close to like a greeting card, designer, and like stationery designer, and a girl who does cosmetics. I got close with her, so it was all similar. We're all trying to achieve the same goal.
And you're in the same sphere,
right? Yeah, right. But we each had different,
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So did you actually, just out of curiosity? So if you ever were to come across somebody who's making also similar products as you would, is that something where you would see them as competitors, or you would see them as like collaborating?
No, I actually have a few friends in the city who do handbags as well.
Okay.
And we've all kind of taken different steps to do the same thing. Like, we all started maybe hand making. Yeah. And then we talk and collaborate and things like that. Just, getting ideas from each other, or feedback on customers and things like that. And
let's talk about that a little bit more, because a lot of times when I talk to small business people, there's this kind of this hesitation, I guess, to always connect with other people who do the same thing, because are they going to be competitors? Right. Is it going to hurt your business? You obviously have a take on it. Tell me more about what makes you think that that's something that helps your business instead of hurting it.
Well, I mean, I feel like everybody kind of goes they're different, they all face different challenges, you know? And so if we get to talk about it together, then, we each get to kind of help each other. And there's so much room for everybody to succeed, I mean. Yeah. In this world, like, everybody's style is different, and everybody wants something different. So, whereas today I'll be wearing all black, tomorrow I'll be wearing, all white. And it's just, I want a different style. And so,
tomorrow I'm still probably wearing a denim jacket.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I got to be honest, I'll probably still be wearing black at some level. So,
awesome. Awesome. Love it. So, one of the things that I tell people is that, if you go up to the top of a hill and scream your idea, nobody's going to be like, oh, that's such a great idea, I'm going to do it. The more likely outcome is that somebody says, oh, I heard somebody down most people are going to ignore you. Yeah. And then there's going to be somebody who's going to be like, oh, I heard somebody, down the road or another hill screaming a similar thing. I should connect you guys.
Absolutely.
And then there's like a lot of synergies that can happen.
Love people like that too. Like, I just feel like it's such a better, I don't know, I get a better vibe from these people, and it's such a good thing to share your knowledge with everybody else. I mean, really, truly, because we all go through different things, and the more you know.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
No, absolutely.
The more
absolutely.
You know.
The more you know, you know.
You know?
There you go. Yeah. You got to put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Oh, point it right here. It's happening.
Love it. Tell me about your design process. So how do you start, where do you get inspiration from? Do you carry a sketchbook? How like soup to nuts, how do you make a bag?
This is my favorite part. So,
all right.
So the design process is fun. So what I do, since I'm not formally trained in this, I just sketch it like a kindergartner would on some piece of paper. I mean, it's perfect. That ratchet looking. I just sketch it, and then what I do is, since I'm no longer handmaking, now I turn it over to my manufacturer. So I just email it, submit it somehow, and then they take it from there, and they ask questions, and we get down like maybe 8 emails in.
Do you iterate on design? So do you ever get something back and you're like, it's not quite what I wanted? Every time.
Every time, because they'll never get it right exactly. I mean, unless you use the same manufacturers over and over again, which over time you will if you like the ones you're using, you know.
Yeah.
So now I formed a relationship with the ones I have.
Yeah.
And now they kind of get my designs a little bit better. But at the beginning, when you're trying to find the right ones, it's difficult because they all perceive it differently. And then they come back and they're like this. I'm like, whoa, no. No. But over time, you get it right. It's just you want to narrow down how many you have to submit to people.
Makes sense. How long is the process from the first time you have your kindergarten sketch to having a finished bag that you can sell?
A week.
No.
Yeah, no, seriously.
To have a
they're good, man.
bags?
They are good. Yeah.
No,
so,
including iterations?
Well, it's the design process. So, like, you submit the sketch, they'll send you a sample within a week. Like, they'll work one up, and they'll send it to you in a week. Then from there, it takes me a month because I test it.
Right, that's what I mean.
Okay,
so until a time where you have, like, something ready to sell.
Yeah. It's about a month.
A month, okay.
A month,
okay.
Sorry.
That's still fast, but I was going to say.
Right? Oh, no, I know. It is fast. But, so about a month I test it, and then I'll submit the order. And
how do you know how many to order? How do you know it's going to be a success?
You don't.
You don't?
Nope. You take a risk. I mean, at the beginning, I took a very calculated risk. I thought about what I put out, and just kind of went from there. I was like, okay, if I could sell this many in a week, imagine what I could do if I had a manufacturer, and then if this many boutiques wants this many, so I kind of just. So
have you ever overestimated demand, and have you ever underestimated demand? So have you ever
definitely underestimated?
Okay,
yes.
So that's a high quality problem, meaning like not enough bags to sell.
Right.
But you have not yet. I don't see here a large stack of boxes or anything.
We are almost completely out of inventory from 2016, and my 2017 inventory arrives next week.
Okay.
So
is it going to be here?
Oh, it's going to be stocked like crazy.
Next to the sewing machine?
All that, yep.
Awesome.
I know. I wish it would have been next week that you were here, because then you could have seen it. It's really cool.
Well, that's awesome. Tell me more about that part. So, let's talk about cash management. A lot of people, small businesses, this is a challenge for them because inventory is cash on the shelf. True. Right? So how do you think about that, and how do you manage your working capital so that you don't end up in a bad place?
Well, luckily with seasons, seasons change, and you go through sales. You can put out sales, and you kind of gauge off of department stores and things like that post sales. They start doing all these end of the year or whatever. So those are your times that you get in there and you take advantage, and then that can help push through a lot. Like just now, I only had about, say, 20 bags left, and 2 days ago I'm like, look, making room for 2017 inventory, and they're all sold out. I mean, I have 3 or 4 left. Wow. I mean, it's crazy, but if you just let them know and kind of.
I know you're going to start expanding your line into other things beyond the bags. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so, I mean, I want to, and I always put that in my business plan, is that I'm going to do X and X, whatever. Yeah. I'm going to do this and that, but, things change. And sure, I wanted to do luggage by this time, and mommy and me line, like for little kids, and
cool.
Especially guys stuff too, because I'm really into masculine and feminine type aesthetics. So I wanted to do really menswear. That's what I started wanting to do, and it never panned out.
What kind of menswear?
Well, like leather vests, suspenders, briefcases, especially briefcases. Yeah. Those things I really wanted to do, but it's hard to start doing something like that when what you have is doing so well that it's like, okay, well, I'll get to that next, or I'll get to that next. And
well, you have to double down on what works initially. You need to build a success before you can add
correct.
To it.
Yeah, you get it.
Yeah, yes. yeah. I mean, it's
tough, but it'll come. I'm not rushing.
Shiny penny problem, right? You got to be careful not to chase a shiny penny.
Right. And I'm in no rush. I'm a very calculated risk taker. I will take my time, because what's the big deal,
Love it.
Yeah.
I want to hear about the transition from you sewing everything else for the morning to using manufacturers. When do you know it was time to do that? And how did you go about finding manufacturers? Because that's probably not, you can't just Google who's going to be first. you have working capital and like order production issues versus the liability. Yeah. Where are you manufactured? Okay. Okay, so they're all made here in the U.S. Do you ever look for abroad manufactured? How was that choice? Is that something that you use in your branding, handmade, made in the USA? Versus selling to retailers. You do both. People can buy your stuff and you and then you also are in retailers. So how do you balance that dynamic where you have some people that do you feel like retailers or whatever? A lot of people have ideas, passion to do, and maybe they're in a place where they don't want to be feed your soul, or something on the line. What's the number one piece of advice you would give to people who are thinking about setting down their own to do something that are maybe doing a job that they don't like?
I mean, I don't even know what to say because that's just my personality. It's just going to go towards one.
Yeah.
But truly, just go for it and don't put all your eggs in one basket. Take your time to think about it. Be realistic with yourself. And really be realistic with what you want because anybody can say, "Oh, I want to start doing that. I'm going to do it." But start it. But there's so many pieces that go into it. Yeah. You do your research.
You're going to be committed.
All your money. Yeah. Don't. Anyway, I literally started from $100 my bank account and it's doing so truly. Not stress enough how much not to like just go, oh, I need to manufacture, so I'm going to go pay all this money to manufacture. Like, really do your research, I mean,
yeah.
And work from the ground up.
Start small. And then sell.
Cannot stress enough about that either. I mean, how now but now when a manufacturer says like, oh, we're going to charge this, or the price like that, I can do better. I'm making it, like, I'm putting myself for it.
Yeah. So basically go brick by brick and learn the lessons along the way. Baller. Love it. So let's talk a little bit more about lessons learned. So how long have you been doing this? Okay, so in those 3.5 years, I'm sure that's plenty of time for things to go sideways. Can you think of a time when you had, can you think of a time when you had a particularly bad crisis where you thought like, oh shit, like I don't even know what's happening, you're out to make it work, and then where did you go? Okay,
I was able to save everything and put everything into this
So it's business to go on. Yeah, I'm sure you're going to go along the way. Let's talk about that. How do you manage your psychology? Because I think that's one of the hardest parts, especially if you're a solo founder, right? So I have a business partner, and like I often use the analogy of like engine pistons, where like one's up and one's down, and you can definitely like help us out. Who do you reach out to when things get dark? Support system. Tell me about that. Do you have like a official way in which you do that, or yeah, there's always a move. That's cool. Now, I'm sure that in the same time you've seen some really odd, wacky things. Can you think of a particularly odd, like wacky story, like customers, crazy things happen to pop up? Do you ever get wacky ideas from customers as to like the kind of designs you should do, and you're like, yeah, got that. Okay. Yeah. Your relationship. You were talking a little bit about other small business owners being supported, but also your relationship with the city. What about the city? Is it easy to work with the city, to get permits, to work here, operate? You were here, and then you saw everything that happened, and what kind of was beverage. Okay. Yeah. So, what's your take on what's happening and where you're going with that? out of here.
Yeah, no question.
Have you thought about getting involved in the community more, getting more people from the community involved in your business in ways to, to have more, I guess, more people? Yeah. Song. Your website. So, but thank you so much for sharing with us all. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, small business. If you like the show, share it, or you can subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, or on our blog at living.com. Be a love here. Email us at proven